be going over some of the comments that I got from my last video, Can the Government Shut Down Bitcoin? And I got some good comments and I got some other comments that were interesting. And I'm going to give you guys my take on what these comments said and we'll go from there. So thanks for tuning in and looking forward to talking to y'all in this video. So we'll just start with like the first two comments this guy kind of said at first, and then we'll get like to the top one. So, and I stopped, like, as you can see, I stopped replying like after a while because I'm like, all right, this guy's like probably baiting me or like trying to get me to like reply or whatever. And so in the first one, he's like, if you want hard money, just buy gold while you still can. And then I'll reply, why would I buy something that can be manipulated like the dollar? Because gold is outside the system. Other countries have a say. It has a 5,000-year history of being treasured universally and will never corrode. Most importantly, gold will be valuable even if the price is zero. And then he goes on to say, Bitcoin scares me to death. We live in a physical world. I want physical money. Cash is so important. The system has already infiltrated and absorbed Bitcoin. You messed up. Institutional, and I said institutional adoption is not infiltration. Do you admit Bitcoin was designed to be outside the system? Bitcoin is a completely different system that, yes, does operate outside of our current monetary system. What is your point? It is not outside the system as it was intended to be. At least acknowledge that. And I stopped replying. He's like, gold is outside the system. Other countries have a say, right? It has a 5,000-year history of being treasured universally and will never corrode. So basically, he's like, all right, well, gold is something that operates outside of the dollar. It's its own market, and it's been around for 5,000 years, so people trust it. People know what it is, and it's something that's physical and won't ever corrode. That's what he's saying, right? Gold is a part of the monetary system that we are in today, right? It is not outside of the system. And I say that because gold is able to be manipulated. For one, we don't know the amount of gold in the current system, just like we don't know the amount of dollars in the current system. How can something be seen as valuable if you can create more of it infinitely? There is no end to how much gold the United States government can lie and say that they have. There's no end to the amount of dollars that the United States government can say that they have, right? There's no end or print, right? There's no end to that. That in itself is not a good thing, right? Gold is able to be manipulated. Yes, it's true that gold has been around for years. Yes, it's true that gold doesn't corrode. But in comparison to Bitcoin, Bitcoin, one, operates outside of the system. Bitcoin is called digital gold for a reason. It has the same properties as gold, except for the best thing about Bitcoin is that it's not able to be manipulated, right? So Bitcoin and gold are both deflationary currencies, right? If gold was not being manipulated as it is right now, it would be a deflationary currency. But unfortunately, gold has been manipulated by human beings for years, for not years, centuries upon centuries. They've been doing this the Roman era, thousands of years. So Bitcoin came along and it is literally gold that cannot be manipulated. It has the same properties. It has the same and better properties as gold. Can't be corrupted. It's fungible. It is scarce. Bitcoin is also seen as valuable. Why is Bitcoin valuable just like gold? There are a couple reasons. The first is because of its scarcity. Every 4 years there's a halving cycle, and Bitcoin is able to be the amount of Bitcoin that you're able to buy decreases. Therefore, people see that and they get scared and they're like, all right, well, I need to buy more Bitcoin because in the next 4 years I won't be able to buy as more because no more are being created. And it's not just people, it's institutions, it's countries, it's millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, like people with skin in the game in the monetary system are going to see this and realize this, and people are actually realizing this today and will flood Bitcoin, and they are. And a lot of people won't see it now, especially this dude, but it's going to happen soon, right? He says that Bitcoin scares him to death, right? We live in a physical world. I want physical money. Cash is so important. So let's be real. If cash is so important, I can almost guarantee you that I'll be conservative here. And I'll say 75% of the populace does not carry cash on them. 75%. There are so many, technology has advanced so much to the point to where all you need is a cell phone and you need an app on your phone. Where's the cash? The only people using cash today are drug dealers and druggies and people cleaning money. I'm 88% sure that that's what's going. Those are the only people in the world using cash. I'm not saying nope, not the average person doesn't use cash like that. I just used cash the other day, like just because I needed there was a store we had to go to that only took cash, right? For whatever reason. But in that instance, like, yeah, there are certain instances where people still may use cash or whatever. Fair enough. Fair enough. But 90% of the time, think about it. When are you really, really using cash? The money that you use to pay your bills is in your bank account. The money that you use to pay for food, 9 times out of 10, you're swiping your credit card or your debit card for that, right? So cash is not important. You don't have to have cash. You don't have to have physical money. Bitcoin doesn't need to be physical for it to be valued. We value so many things that are not physical. I value I value this pen because without a pen or a writing utensil, how else am I going to be able to write on a piece of paper to get down what I have in my head on the piece of paper so that somebody else can read it, right? I value lotion for keeping my skin moisturized. I value these headphones because they make it so that I can listen to music or listen to my videos that I'm making in private or, on like a different level so that nobody else around me can hear what's going on, right? The audio is better. We value so many different things that have for different reasons, right? We value Bitcoin because Bitcoin is something that it gives us control of our money for one, and it allows us to access wealth and escape the current system, escape the current fiat system. That's one of the reasons we value Bitcoin. We value Bitcoin because it's a deflationary currency. Things get cheaper over time with the Bitcoin. So the guy wanted me to say that Bitcoin is not outside of our current monetary system. And so I kind of already explained that a little bit, but I'm gonna go like more into detail with it, right? So Bitcoin is not a part of our current system, right? Not a part of our current monetary system because of its deflationary behavior. But also Bitcoin does not, it's an anomaly in our current like monetary system because it grows your wealth, right? A lot of things don't grow your wealth at the pace that Bitcoin does, right? Honestly, nothing grows your wealth at the pace that Bitcoin does. Bitcoin allows you to maintain and grow your purchasing power, right? So as time goes on, right, one Bitcoin will one day be $108,000, which it is today. In the near future, one Bitcoin will be equal to $1 million. In the near future, one Bitcoin will be equal to $10 million. And then after a 10 million, it'll be equal to $100 million for one Bitcoin. And the price will continue to go up infinitely, right? And a lot of people can't comprehend that. They don't see that happening. But let's look at where we started at. Bitcoin was in 2009. Since its inception, it was worth $0. 4 years after that, Bitcoin was worth about $300 or $400. 4 more years after that, Bitcoin was worth a couple $1,000s. 4 years after that, Bitcoin is worth $50,000. 4 more years after that, Bitcoin today is worth $108,000. So as time goes on, your purchasing power grows with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is the complete opposite of the dollar. So in a deflationary Bitcoin world, your power grows, your purchasing power grows. In an inflationary fiat world, your purchasing power shrinks. It belittles, right? As the Fed prints more money and they throw more and more dollars into the system, the purchasing power or the power that you have with your money of things to buy buys you less, which is why the dollar has currently lost value over time, right? And it's still losing value as we speak, right? Until eventually the dollar's going to be worth nothing. So that's the first thing, right? And then, like I said, Bitcoin is deflationary, right? So the price of goods and services will continue to go down, right? Just like technology. As technology goes on, right, technology becomes cheaper. These headphones, when they were first these headphones here, when they were first released, were probably like $200, maybe. You can probably find the same ones today for like maybe 178, 158. As time goes on, technology gets cheaper. It's because we keep advancing with technology, we keep making things better. So that's why things technology becomes cheaper, right? And so the same is true for Bitcoin. Bitcoin keeps growing. Um it keeps the adoption keeps growing. The network keeps strengthening. The hashing power keeps strengthening, right? So that therefore the currency itself is going to grow in dollar terms. Is going to grow because people adopt it. They gravitate towards it. And also, again, Bitcoin is scarce. A lot of people see that Bitcoin is scarce, so they're not like they only realize there's only but so much Bitcoin that you can get, right? There are over 100 million millionaires in the world, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin in the world, right? So not all of them can own one Bitcoin. All right, so check this out. So we got casebitcoin.com/charts, and this shows us some of the Bitcoin charts, right? So the first one we're going to be looking at is the Bitcoin and traditional assets return on investments versus USD, and well, gold and S&P 500 is USD, and then we got the Bitcoin and traditional assets CAGR. So simply just looking at the Bitcoin and traditional assets return on investments, right? Bitcoin compared to gold and the S&P 500. Bitcoin's at 91% after year one, 41%. Gold is at 41% after year one, S&P 500 12% after year one. And then as we go all the way down, right, all the way down, let's not even get crazy. Let's just go to 5 years. In 5 years, your return on investment in Bitcoin is 1,067%. Gold is 85%. S&P 500 is 97%. Why would you not put your money in Bitcoin? That's the first one, right? And this is historical data. Going off the Bitcoin and traditional assets CAGR, Bitcoin after 4 years, every halving cycle, 34%. Gold after 4 years, 17%. SP 500 after 4 years, 9%. Just for those of you who didn't know, SP 500 it basically means the SP 500, which contains the 500 of the world's largest stocks or whatever. Um, then you have like ETFs, like your Vanguards and your TSP accounts, 401ks, things like that, right? So both charts, Bitcoin has outgrown both gold and the S&P 500 in dollar terms, right? I understand not understanding Bitcoin. I just don't understand not understanding Bitcoin and then not trying to understand it to grow your wealth, right? So there's that. Then we have this other chart from inflationchart.com. And essentially what I did was I selected gold as our indicator, measured in Bitcoin, and did the all-time chart. So if you look at the two, I'll take this off. This might confuse some people. Essentially, this just shows um, gold, like gold compared to Bitcoin, whether or not it's growing in Bitcoin terms or not, right? Which it's red and is going down, meaning that it's not growing in Bitcoin terms. But I'll take it off. Bitcoin is in the blue, gold is in the green. So this just shows gold being flat. It hasn't done anything. And it can't do anything because it's being manipulated. But as you can see, Bitcoin has been doing has been moving since inception. Since inception, it's been moving, and it's still moving, right? So, Bitcoin compared to gold, Bitcoin outshines gold in everything. And then finally, we have the companies ranked by market cap. All this shows is the overall combined value of assets, right? So, out of all the gold in the world, I don't know where exactly this website gets all of this data, but out of all the gold in the world, it sees that this is all the gold in the world would be priced around $22.4 trillion dollars. And then all the Bitcoin in the world would be combined about $2.15 trillion dollars. And it shows the price of gold or Bitcoin, right? And then like kind of generates all of the prices and throws them together, kind of lumps them together. So looking at this, gold is obviously a higher market cap than Bitcoin. But if we're being honest, Bitcoin is slowly catching up to gold. And I'm gonna come back to this chart in the next year, and Bitcoin's gonna be a number 5. It'll probably be a number 4. And what that means is more and more people are throwing their energy, their value, their worth to Bitcoin. They're putting their time and energy to Bitcoin and not end up moving it away from other assets. So yeah, basically in comparison, Bitcoin, not gonna say not gold. I love gold. I think gold is great. I just think that Bitcoin definitely outgrows gold, and I think Bitcoin is better investment than gold in my opinion. So, not saying don't put your money in gold. I can't tell you what to do with your money, right? I'm not a financial guy. I'm not a financial guru. I'm not a financial advisor. I just allocate majority of my net worth into Bitcoin, and I think everybody else should as well because the monetary system that we're currently in now is going through major changes, and Bitcoin is the safest investment. That's just how I feel about it. Take that with grain of salt, right? Do your own thing, do your own research, and thank you guys for tuning in. If you like my videos, please comment, like, subscribe. It helps my algorithm out, and I look forward to looking at your comments, looking at your views and everything. Like, hit me up, any questions or whatever that you have. Look forward to talking to you in the next one.